Hello Libra, we're going to do your May fortnightly reading for May 17th through to the 31st. If you haven't already seen your monthly practically soulful reading, it is up on the channel. I did mention in there that the weekly readings I was doing have now switched to fortnightly, simply to capture a more accurate unfolding of the energy as it sort of transmutes either subconsciously or from a soul level. Yeah, so I'm finding that weekly readings are very much going to be similar themes for weeks, for a couple of weeks, for 3 weeks even. So switching that to fortnightly will hopefully start to identify new energies that are coming through for the zodiacs, because as we all know, empaths, intuitives and sensitives, you know, whether you identify as being on an awakening journey when it comes to those deeper layers of healing and awareness work, it can take a little bit of time for events to naturally unfold and progress. So I feel the fortnightly readings will be more suitable in being able to capture how stories do unfold. So that's one change. Now, May has been a bit of a powerhouse of energy. The Scorpio full moon was about really deep reset and healing when it comes to everything we've all been through in many ways, you know, when it comes to the themes of what the retrogrades are offering us. So we've got 4 planets in retrogrades that kicked off on that same week of the full moon in Scorpio. So we've got Venus, Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter in retrograde, and as an overarching story, we're all recreating boundaries, rules, structures in the realms of love, expansion and growth, based on everything we've ever learned, everything we've ever been told, you know, our deeper subconscious motivations and blocks, yeah, when it comes to love, connection, intimacy, abundance, expansion and growth, you know, and the rules we've been told to live by and the structures we've been operating within for perhaps a very long time are now under review in many ways. You know, this collective cosmic energy is influencing us all, yes, but how that uniquely applies to each individual within their own unique circumstances is going to be different for everyone. Okay, so my lovely Libras, you guys are 4th off the bat for the readings for the zodiacs. Now, as I do say, if you're a returning viewer, please go out and check your natal chart. There are links in the description box below. So you are more than just your sun sign of Libra. You are also a moon, a rising, a Venus sign, a Jupiter sign, okay? I like to think of the natal chart as the multidimensional aspects of self. So go ahead and explore that if the messages do not resonate. Messages that I deliver, I pick up on the most strongest frequencies, the most strongest storylines that are coming through to me on a soul level for those that are seeking healing, confirmation, clarification, yeah? The channel, if this is the first time here, that this channel is targeted to those that are empaths, intuitives and sensitives. You know, I deeply believe it is more about confirming what you already know on an intuitive level rather than this being an external source. That's a nice card to have underneath, unconditional love, rather than this being an external source of information to tell you how to navigate your own path. Yeah, we all have free will and choosing. We are all gifted with divine knowing. It is our birthright. Intuition is simply just another way in which we process data around us. So let's take a look at a beautiful theme you might have, Libra. This is relevant. Underneath all of this is this theme of unconditional love. But you've got the community card that has come up for you. You know, there's a lot of fire energy, a lot of action energy, a lot of, you know, if I think of the tarot, the wands, the fire element is about action, passion, desire. There is a desire out there for many Libras that I'm connecting into to connect with those that feel like they have common ground. Whether you call them your soul tribe, whether you are seeking more stronger connections because you're finding the connections within your life are starting to fall away because of different beliefs, different ideas, different plans moving forward. You're missing your community, and that's relevant, yeah, for many of us that have been in lockdown for quite a while now. We're forming new ways in which to connect, where redefining the connections we've already had and already have in our lives. We're reaching out to other connections perhaps as well, to new ones, finding resonance there. You know, as human beings, we are connective by nature. We seek connection. We seek to be seen, heard, understood, to know that we are not alone. Community is such a vital part of us feeling connected to the greater whole. And if you think about our society, it's very much been focused on such a separation and individual experience. Yeah, you see that everywhere. You see that in a house full of people, everyone's on their phones and iPads, and you know, there's this and that's the greatest thing, I guess, about globalization, is that we are connecting to people that perhaps once felt so far away. But how are we connecting to our immediate environment? How do we feel connected within our immediate environment too, is what I want to mention. But there is excitement here, Libra, for those of you that feel like you are connecting to that and who feels like home, to that and who feels like they resonate to you and your core truth and what you are seeking at this time. You are building your community. You know, you are wanting a certain type of community. You're wanting to feel like you are part of something. And you can apply that anywhere: a workplace, a family, a social group, a friendship group. Okay? It is when we know our place in society that we truly feel that we can come alive and know that we can fulfill our purpose, is what I do want to say when I look at this. We are all essential parts of a greater whole. You know, we are all vital cogs in a bigger wheel. Community. But I feel this spark of excitement, this spark of knowing, this spark of desire, you know. Maybe I'm connecting into Libras that have recently identified some new connections in their life, new groups, new friendships. They are feeling and experiencing this expansive energy, the 10 of Coins, family, home, hearth, building a dynasty. The 10 of Coins is about long-term commitment. You know, there's maybe I'm connecting into Libras that are committing to a new path, a new version of yourself that you are unpacking, and thus wanting to then find those who resonate. Yeah, maybe who you were 6 months ago, a year ago, is different to who you are becoming, and naturally a big part of that is this falling away of old roles, old friendships, old groups that used to be your community. You know, now you are perhaps in this expansion mode, Libra, where you're identifying a new community that resonates with where you're at. So with the unconditional card, I was very drawn to this. You know, maybe there's a time of healing that you are going through or recently have come through, to feel unconditionally accepted, seen, known, heard. Yeah? Loving others despite their different beliefs and opinions, and we are all part of a bigger community. I feel like I'm talking to Libras that perhaps have experienced recently a disconnection, perhaps, within their immediate circles, and are now moving through that energy. I'm just trying to remember what your main reading was. 2 Kings. Okay, my lovely Libras, underneath all of this is the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is the divine energy, the divine feminine energy of the suit of coins. And now she is very much, she offers tangible love, tangible support, tangible guidance, yeah? So unlike the Queen of Cups, who is that emotional center and genuine nurture, the Queen of Coins will also then sort of provide something to have and hold in representation of her love and support. This can definitely be financial. This can definitely be, you know, indication of wanting to ground down practical applications with how you expand, with how you ground down these new beliefs, new desires. I feel an expansion energy. I'm just trying to look at your May. Excuse me. Coming full circle. So that coming full circle, that was your May Practically Soulful reading. It's about how far you have come on the journey, and now underneath all this I've got the Queen of Pentacles, like she's wanting to ground down. These are action steps, tangible proof of an ideal, an idea, yeah? When I look at community Libra, I'm perhaps connecting into Libras that have, like I said, outgrown old versions of self. You've come full circle, and now you're wanting to actively action this, you know, go out. Like I said, this fire element is an action energy. It is about wanting to seek connections that resonate, wanting to expand and out there in the community, wanting to put your voice out there, your vision, your project, your idea, bring to form that which you've come full circle on, yeah? There's a spiritual healing here when the Temperance card shows up, and definitely there's been a spiritual healing here in the realms of emotional mastery. I feel like I'm speaking, you know, to Libras that perhaps in the last year, in many ways, have been closing some massive chapters. I feel like there's a final roadblock that will be present for you in the last 2 weeks of May. Excuse me as I move that chair. There will be a final roadblock for you, Libra, in the final 2 weeks of May, because I do see here, this is your sigh of relief card. You know that it is time to act, but you also know that there are perhaps, before you get to the balancing, before you get to the point that you know equal balance is necessary, or that equal balance and harmony is existing within you, there's this wait and see approach that you are taking. I can see here from the cards, and I'll talk to them each, because this is about you expanding into that next level of self, expanding your concept of self and your plans for the future, where you want to take this vision, this connection, this idea, how you're grounding that down, apply it where it resonates, okay? This can be in real life. I feel very strongly, I'm connecting to Libras that have needed some form of emotional bravery, balancing, mastery when it comes to their new path. I'm feeling very strongly that this is about purpose, passion, business, career, but this also ties into a connection, family, intimate or otherwise, yeah? And how this new version of me fits into the us that we already have is what I keep hearing. So there's been this balancing. Maybe you are connected into a Sagittarius. Maybe you have Sagittarius in your charts. Maybe you're connecting to a water sign, Cancer, Libra. Sorry, a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, yeah? But there is a spiritual healing here, definitely. When these two cards show up, there is a healing here, a balancing that has happened to get you to the point of emotional mastery. You've had to engage this energy of unconditional love for self and others, and perhaps even really go through the timeline, back through the timeline. Yeah, I feel like you're coming out of that energy though, and you've got something tangible now that you want to ground down, Libra. There's something tangible here that you want to action and make next steps, because underneath all this, you know that you want a new beginning, that you want to commit to. There's a new start here, a business idea, a job opportunity, a new chapter. And you were hesitant in the past, yeah? It took a lot of emotional balancing. You were hesitant how to best. I feel this chart energy, this watch and wait and see. You might be online watching other businesses. You might be watching and waiting to see how things pan out. When it comes to physical circumstances, reality, the community in which you're operating in, or whether you're trying to gauge the support you're requiring to best move you forward. There's this watch, there's expect communication. I feel this chart energy. These guys sit in between these two cards, okay? So in the recent past, there was an opportunity, a gift that you were unsure about taking. And it took, in order to take it, to see this for what it was, there was this healing that was necessary, this balancing, this spiritual healing, enlightenment, emotional mastery that had to happen within you in order for you to get clear Wait for it. This crowns you to get clear on the new beginning you want. You can apply this to relationships, love, marriage, and I feel very strongly I'm connecting into Libras that are wanting to launch this next chapter of self, you know, and self is expressed in our career and how we, it is expressed in career, it is expressed in the relationships we have, the lifestyles we live, the community that we have. Yeah, we're getting clear on what we want to start, Libra. We're getting clear on the next steps, the next foundational steps. We're getting clear on the gifts that have been offered to us. He has then turned to this cup and notices that it is offered by the divine, and he sees it now for what it is. What I was nervous emotionally about accepting, I am now seeing it for what it is. It is something solid, tangible. I feel like I'm speaking to Libras that have gained strong clarity, yeah, and experienced an emotional reset and healing. But I do feel like there's this cha-cha energy that I mentioned earlier, where you are waiting, watching, and waiting for next steps. I do want to clarify that. Because if you've been through and the reason I want to clarify is because if you've been through the healing, what are we waiting for here? Are you waiting for your community to catch up with you? Are you waiting for support from your tribe? Because it takes a lot of work to get to an emotional equilibrium within self, so we can then communicate to others, our partners, our connections, our family, our friends, our community. I know who I am now. I know what I want, you know. So it takes a lot of work to get to that point in self. But then there's another layer, another roadblock is perhaps what I was picking up here. We're sensing a conflict, a potential conflict is what I'm now picking up on. Let me clarify why I'm feeling this cha-cha energy. Page of Swords has been clarified by the Page of Swords. King of Pentacles is underneath. Come on, Libra, what are you doing to me? The Fool. You know that there is this brand new beginning, but you are watching. You are watching something. I'm not going to call you a stalker, but there's something you're watching. You're waiting for something to be a solid investment. You know, you're grounded by this knowing. So this is what I want to say. This is the Ace of Pentacles. This is the King of Pentacles, okay? Maybe an earth sign is relevant. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Underneath all this, let me thread the frequency together. You are strong in yourself about what you want moving forward. You've now got to rally the troops. You've now got to convince or sell your idea, sell yourself to your community, yeah? So I do want to ask, are we seeking approval when we already know that we approve, is what I do want to ask. Is it a practical thing, Libra, where you're actually assessing the community, your market? I'm thinking now more like along business ideas about what best to do. You're waiting for the market to shift, which can explain this watching energy. With the Page of Swords clarifying the Page of Swords. Interesting. You're looking back, you're watching something about what best to do here, in the here and now. That before you communicate, you are watching something. The Page of Swords is communication, yes, but this communication is a reset. I had to keep pulling. I could pull cards forever to keep clarifying. I'm feeling that this is more so about you feeling like you need to convince your tribe, convince your market, how best to position your message, you know. The swords rule the realm of thought, communications, what we're thinking about best next steps, what we're thinking we should do. Do they necessarily act? No. The Page of Swords is more of a watching energy, a wait and see energy. That's why it's also known as a stalker or being watched. Feeling like we're watched, feeling like we're being watched by our community on some level. Maybe, you know, as you expand, as you've gone through some sort of healing decisions and you've said to others. Now, take that however you like, Libra. Maybe you're feeling watched. I do feel strongly that I'm connecting into Libras that are watching, waiting, and seeing. So they are wanting this guaranteed, this King of Pentacles commitment. They're wanting a commitment. Yeah? They're wanting a confirmation that the King of Pentacles is the long term, he's a long-term story, a long-term commitment, something solid. This is the ace that grows into the lifetime plan, A lot of financial stuff here, a lot of business stuff is what I'm feeling, Libra, a lot of career stuff. You're juggling this cha-cha energy that I picked up earlier. You're juggling how best to navigate this new beginning. So when the Page of Swords clarifies the Page of Swords, I'm going to suggest then is to keep watching, waiting, and seeing. Let's see if we can pick up a time frame. Maybe the next, because we're currently, are we currently in Taurus? Yes, we are. And we're going to very well soon be in Gemini. The next Earth sign zodiac season is what I want to say. So that will be Virgo in end of August. Okay, maybe that time frame is relevant for you. Maybe you've used this current Earth sign zodiac season of Taurus to do some watching, waiting, and seeing. Now, the gift of the retrogrades this month, Libra, has been to take us back. You're watching not just where you're currently at, but back where how far you have come from too. See these two different pages? They are both the Page of Swords, but from two different decks. But look at the direction of their faces. Look at that one's eyes. He's actually looking right at you, at the here and now. You've not only looked and taken a journey, to see how far you've come, because he's looking back. You're now looking at where you are today. And you're assessing the next best step. Apply that where it fits, where it resonates, This roadblock that I was picking up on, I do feel like there is going to be some form of conflict. This can be inner conflict, that cha-cha energy I was picking up on, Don't let it get to the point that it's actually causing this, though. This isn't like massive anxiety, up late at night, the stress, the worry, Libra. You guys are good at this sword energy. We get it. Air signs are amazing at thought, but you guys are also the master of it. You know what the shadow element of our thoughts can look like. I feel like there's a danger or there's a risk of you overthinking something or feeling conflicted by this next step, okay? Or how best to handle the conflict in your life when it comes to your community, you expanding, you grounding down this new commitment, this new idea, this new direction you want to take a risk on. You want it. You actually feel it very strongly in self. You are 100% clear in your thoughts and in your emotions. You have made your head and heart decision, Libra. But I feel like you need to sell this to some important people, whether it's convincing family, loved ones, your community, whether you are, genuinely assessing your friendship groups and your it's like I keep feeling like I'm assessing my market, which is a practical thing, but if I'm assessing my market, I may not necessarily get into this heavy stuff. When I'm worried about what people think, this is more so about the close friends and family that I'm probably no longer resonating with or feeling like I have to sell my new self to. I think that's relevant to some Libras. Something shifts here, Libra, in the final 2 weeks. And it has to, because there was an unequal balance. There was non-harmony in some regard. Something has to fall. 6 days, 6 weeks. Between September, these are the relevant time frames for you to successfully execute what it is that you're wanting to do. But if something must fall, I hope it is this conflict energy that you're feeling like you can't perhaps. I feel like you're toe in, toe out. You know that this is going to cause conflict, this is going to cause You know, if this is external to you, if this energy is external to you, I need to clarify. I feel like I'm picking up on multiple frequencies here. If you are a Libra that is navigating your journey moving forward with a business idea, can we get a clarification on these energies with the 9 of Swords and the 5 of Swords? You're in your head about emotional loss, perhaps emotional satisfaction, then is about, you know, this is about you've recently come to a point where you were emotionally satisfied, where you had mastered your emotions, and you know that there's this next hurdle, this next block that needs to be addressed, that is going to impact your emotions on some level. I do want to say you will never go back to where you were. What will be gained is so much more than what will be lost. Conflict is hard. So many of us deal with conflict in different ways to the point that we avoid it, yeah, Libra? And I'm talking to Libras. You guys are the bringers of harmony. You desire nothing more than harmony. This is harmony, you know, knowing that something has to be balanced here. They're not exactly balanced, give and take, but that is the energy of wanting some balanced give and take. You're wanting harmony. But sometimes this has to happen so we get this harmony from within, because it's disharmonic when we're not following our path, following our truth, following our heart. You've done the work. You've done the head-heart stuff that took a long time. It was a spiritual healing. You went deep within self. But I feel like I'm connecting to Libras here. Now, you can apply this to business. You can apply this to life path, your direction moving forward, a connection, a new connection. You've done the work internally already, Libra. And it's like within your head, you're giving yourself reason to think that this final little thing is going to be the thing that stops it all. But it won't. You know, I keep thinking now of, you know, that right before the success comes, when we have been pushed or pushed ourselves to the point where we really want to give up, it's not worth it. That is when something shifts, and I want to push you to that point, Libra. Push you over and past that point. I feel that then the reason that you're not wanting to address that final hurdle is because you are on some level afraid of the emotional loss that will have to be invested. And yes, things change. Our emotional bodies change in many ways. The way we see ourselves, feel about ourselves and our lives, and risk has to happen on some level so that we can receive a reward. So it ultimately always comes back down to us deciding, Libra, what do I want to invest in? What is it going to cost me? Do I still want to go for that massive thing? Even if it means I will not get it and I have to put my whole heart out there and risk not getting it, yeah? Are you willing to live with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas and the conflict within? Or do you want to just face it head on and seek, is what I want to say. Can I get some clarification on the Tower and the 6 of Coins? You don't want to make the wrong choice. You don't want to rush head in. You do, though, on some level. You want to rush in. You are certain of your path forward, but you're also feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and you know that there is never any right thing to do, Libra. You've done the work. You've done the head-heart work. You've done the emotional balancing. You've done the head balancing, and now perhaps you're slipping into old paradigms, old ways of managing your overthinking. I feel like I'm connecting to Libras that are overthinking something here. There's a lot of people on the table, okay? If this is relevant to you, there are children on the table. A time that connects into our youth, that we were excited about our path. There are 3 kings on the table. That might be relevant. The King of Swords, the King of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. This final little risk, although I'm not going to lie, it will feel like this. It will. It will, because you know that conversation, that choice, that it brings everything down. It brings a clean slate. It brings, for you, ultimately a sigh of relief. You get to start something from the ground up that was never perhaps started the way it should, you know. Life path, career, connection, this city and reality you've been building for a very long time. This reality you've been building for a very long time. You're wanting to balance something here, Libra. You're wanting to balance and start all over again. It is a deep desire within. I'm feeling it. You know. And you know, in order to experience harmony is to genuinely feel strongly in here as well as here about our next steps. So I do want to say, because I see that you have achieved that for self, and it's almost like you're perhaps influenced by your community. Were you influenced by the opinions, words, advice of friends and family about what you should be doing? It's an internal thing. There's an internal thing where you get to determine what your next best steps are, Libra. I actually, you know, I was really drawn to the energy underneath this. This is about connecting into this unconditional love. If you were in a point where you are making a decision, a major decision, this toing and froing, this chart energy, this avoidance perhaps of this last final hurdle before you launch that new chapter, what would you want your child to do? What would you want your loved one to do? How can you see yourself with unconditional love so that you make the choice that you know that you feel strongly is right for you, despite what your community, friends, family think you should be doing? To be a strong member of a community is to perhaps even know that in our strength, it's because we have the confidence to stand alone and know who we are so that we know exactly what we're bringing to the table. Yeah? There's a chance here you could very well stay in the same position you're in, whether that is in a connection, whether that is in a reality before you launch, before you take this next step. You can very well stay there until September to work through things, okay? But my only word of advice then is don't stay where we're staying to a point where it's causing conflict and stagnation because we're just afraid of this. Okay, I'm picking up on several frequencies. I do want to say the money is there. I know that I'm talking to Libras that know that it's going to cost some money. It's going to cost an investment. It's a conversation. I keep feeling that I just have to have this conversation, and it's that it is a freeing thing for you, Libra. This is who I am, this is what I want, this is how I want things to change, this is my plans moving forward. And with love, I accept you for who you are, despite the fact that it's different to who I am and what I want. I'm picking that up as well for some Libras. There are some strong storylines here, Libra. So for the final 2 weeks of May, if it starts to feel like this, identify if that's an internal thing and what you can do about that for self, yeah? There is a change and a reset here, no doubt, that you are moving towards. This is the opportunity. You've done the work. You've done the emotional and logical clarification processes within already to get clear on what needs to be balanced, what needs to be aligned, what needs to happen next. But you're watching and waiting for some reason, okay? For some reason. Now that choice can be it can be fruitful, it can be purposeful, because we're gathering data, we're waiting, we're biding our time, whatever the case may be. But it is only unhelpful when it starts to be this. And you will know in yourself, Libra, which one applies to you. Feel the fear and do it anyway, is what I keep hearing. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay? Interesting to see what June will bring you, because you have successfully closed off a cycle. That has been the gift of the retrograde, and we will keep feeling that right the way through the year, depending on which retrograde cycle we're referring to. You will keep seeing how much you have come full circle, Libra, and in many ways this next level of you, this next experience, this next level of your life is destined. Yeah, it is time for that next chapter. This version of you is trying to come out. Okay, my loves, I hope that has provided some clarification and confirmation of what you already know. If so, please like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know how you found it. Thanks for watching, Libra. See you next time.